Yes, I believe. You say,
I believe that you are able to do exceedingly abundantly, far above all I could ask or think.
I am so excited because the Step Out TV shows are back live on T2I TV. And for those who don't know, Step Out is a series of interviews and motivational segments designed to bring the best out of you and your business. Therefore, we have the following TV programs. Our first TV program, which is our flagship program, dubbed Step Out with Oscar Bimpong, is designed to interview consultants, experts, talented people, and those doing exceptionally well in their communities. The second one is Step Out SME Focus. This is where we interview business owners and showcase their products and services. The third one is Step Out Youth Impact Zone. This is where we interview young people succeeding against all odds to serve as an inspiration to other young people. And the last one is Step Out Authors Corner. And this is where we interview authors to share what their book is about to the world. Join us every week at 7 p.m. GMT. Like T2I TV on Facebook and subscribe to the YouTube channel. To advertise or for further information, do WhatsApp +44 759 1152 983 or +233 55 580 3924 or email info@traintoinspire.com. T2I TV. We engage, educate, enlighten, and empower.
Welcome to another exciting edition of the Step Out Youth Impact Zone. And this is the zone where we interview young people that are doing exceptionally well in diaspora and on the continent of Africa. And they are telling their stories. They are talking to us about their business against all odds, and they are sharing their talent development with us. The idea of the Step Out Youth Impact Zone is to encourage other young people that will be watching other young people that against all odds, they are working so hard to break the status quo and the norm, to exceed expectation and to achieve their goals. Meaning that these young people are becoming an inspiration to other young people when they tell their stories in their own ways to inspire other young people. And that is what the Step Out Youth Impact Zone is all about. And we have interviewed a lot of young people, both in Europe, in America, in Africa, just to inspire other young people. And tonight is no exception. But before I go on to my guest, I want to mention a few sponsors of the Step Out Youth Impact Zone. The T2I TV UK is being powered by Train to Inspire Consultancy. Train to Inspire Consultancy is your business training and consulting firm. It's for all your business training in the areas of leadership and management, customer service, sales and marketing, finance and accounting, change management, you name it. We work with experts across the globe in different fields of endeavor for them to deliver bespoke training to your organization. Now, if you want to know more about us, just Google or search for www.traintoinspire.com. The 2 is as in number 2. Also, this program is sponsored by ALS Global Shipping and Logistics, your trusted import and export company based in Accra. ALS says if you are stranded at the port, call ALS and they will sort you out. ALS is based in Accra, Ghana. Also, ZPay Ghana Limited, they just had their new branch office at Kaswa. They are expanding rapidly, and they are a remittance and mobile money company based in Ghana. They also just launched their ZPay mobile money USSD code, which is *270#, and that is, they call it the Freedom Family. At the comfort of your home on your phone, you can register for ZPay mobile money. And with ZPay, you don't need a SIM card to register for mobile money. Just dial the number and you are in business. Also, Wheels for Sure. Wheels for Sure is your car leasing company for every credit. Wheels for Sure says it doesn't matter your credit. Just call them and you walk out of the garage with the car of your choice. Now, if you call Wheels for Sure, quote T2I 2020 to let them know that you got this advert from T2I TV UK. Now, Wheels for Sure is based in the UK and they've got a very good package for everyone, especially key workers in the United Kingdom. Drive a car of your choice under COVID. Don't go into public transport. If the system is punishing you for bad credit, Wheels for Sure say you can still drive a car of your choice. Now, if you want to contact any of our sponsors, their names are scrolling on the tax bar. Take their numbers and call them. When you call them, tell them you got the number from T2I TV UK. And trust me, you are more likely to get a good deal. And that is what I always say to everybody. Now, who do I have on the hot seat? This lady is doing amazing work. She's based in London and she's working so hard. And who is she? She's a content creator, an actress. She's an Access into Medicine advocate, a medical student, and co-founder of Journey to Med. Who is this lady that I'm talking about? She is in the person of Lydie Kitenge. Please welcome to Step Out Youth Impact Zone, and you are live on T2I TV UK.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello. How has your day been?
Oh, it's been fine, thank you. How has yours been?
Very quiet, but working. So that's the way it is. Yes. So it's been wonderful. We've been having a lot of discussions behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I've learned a lot from you in terms of what you are doing and impacting the youth of today. But I really want you to let you introduce yourself in your own ways, that anybody that is knowing you for the first time, how are you going to introduce yourself?
So I'm Lydie Kitenge. I'm a second-year medical student at Barts in London. I have a YouTube channel called Journey to Med, where I post a few videos on there and also an Instagram page. I'm an education content creator, a widening participation officer for African Caribbean Society, and other commitments as well that I currently do on the side of medical school.
Wow. So today we are going to talk about academic prosperity and breaking barriers for young Black people. Now, before we delve into the main topic, I want you to tell us about your Journey to Med journey, in terms of why did you decided to really go into Journey to Med, and what is it all about?
So Journey to Med is a YouTube channel that I set up last year after my A-levels, and initially the reason I made it is because applying to Barts in London Medical School, there wasn't much support that I could see online from other medical students on top tips essentially concerning that medical school. In addition to this, I don't believe that there's a lot of representation of Black female medical students online, so I really wanted to be an example and a role model for younger Black students that would like to apply to medicine and perhaps think that it's not really their place. So I started that up to really encourage the youth to value their education, to understand that anything is possible, and to also provide engaging and entertaining content on the side of it as well.
Wow. And how is it going?
It's going really well. We have gained quite a lot of subscribers over the past year, and it continues to grow even today. And we are getting a lot of opportunities through it to just continue to spread that message about the importance of education and just motivating younger students.
Tell me about your journey to medical school.
So I wouldn't say that my journey to medical school was the easiest. Initially, even preparing for my GCSEs, which you need for medical school, of course, wasn't easy, as at the time my school didn't really have a lot of teachers that you could rely on for your education. So I did have to self-teach a lot of my GCSE content, and luckily I was able to do well in it and move on to sixth form. However, at sixth form, I did find it very difficult to find work experience due to, I would say, lack of knowledge. I wasn't really aware where to look, what to do, what I needed. It was something that I had to research quite a lot, which is why I used Journey to Med as a means to provide that information to younger students that also lack that information as well. After some research and calling so many doctors and so many hospitals, I finally gained work experience that facilitated my journey into medical school. I didn't actually do A-level chemistry as it was oversubscribed at my sixth form. So this was something that I thought, would stop me from doing medicine forever. However, research is really important, and I took it upon myself to look into different medical schools, and I was lucky enough to find some that would accept me without A-level chemistry. So after that, I just made sure that my A-levels went well and I was able to enter medical school.
So which university are you in?
So I'm currently at Barts in London.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Then can I ask you this? Because do we have a lot of Black people as GPs or maybe doctors? Do we have a lot of them, especially in the UK? And were you related to some of them as mentors before?
I think not enough. I don't think we have enough at all. And no, I personally didn't directly know any GPs or doctors. I wasn't not in my direct environment anyways. And even when I gained work experience and I even saw one GP that looked like me, it meant a lot to me. And that's why representation is honestly so important, because it reassures you that I can do that too. I can look like this and still get to where they currently are. I feel like if you go online right now and you search up doctor or medical student, if you look at the brochures or you look at the website, you see a lot of Caucasian medical students, a lot of Caucasian representatives of medicine. And I think it's important to reflect the diversity of the field in the media. But yeah, I definitely think there could be much more Black GPs and much more Black doctors. I personally didn't have a Black mentor that was also a doctor at the time.
So do you really think that because you didn't have mentors, because you didn't have a lot of people that were related to you in the medical field, did that one serve as a form of inferiority complex or a challenge in terms of you making the decision to even go to medical school, thinking about all the challenges and all the myths that surrounds medical school?
I would say when I was in secondary school, I wasn't aware of how much there was like a lack of diversity within medicine until I went to sixth form and I was attending all these medical school events, and I seemed to be the only Black person in the room most of the time. A lot of the staff tended to be all white and so on. And I would say that upon applying to medicine, it did contribute to motivating me that, I have to get into medicine, not just because it's a dream career, but because then there needs to be more people that look like me to show younger people that look like me that you can do it too. So yeah, definitely really contributed to my motivation towards applying to medical school.
Now, if you are watching us for the first time, we will encourage you to share this, because I'm already enjoying the discussion, and I believe if you are enjoying it, then somebody might probably need it. So please share this to other pages and let's get this thing more known to other people. Now, do you think Black people see medical school as an option?
Oh, that's a really good question. I would say some do, but it's definitely not the majority. I feel like in certain communities, there is some hesitance towards higher education. And I think that is because of the portrayal that young Black people might see in their community, in their environment. In my direct community, for example, it's quite rare to see someone go to do medicine and go into higher education. That was very rare at my secondary school. So the minute that you're not seeing that example, it's so easy to think that, okay, it's beyond my reach because I haven't seen other people do it, as I know that representation is something that people might not think is as important, but when it isn't there for you, you understand the significance of it. So no, I don't think enough Black people consider medicine or even higher education in their path, just because there is that lack of representation. Many of them are just not informed enough. Many of them are in environments that tell them that there's a limitation to what they can do. There's a limitation to what profession they can be a part of. So I definitely think that there could be an improvement in that area.
So now, if they feel like there's a limitation in terms of what they can do, especially young Black people, then how can this narrative be changed?
I personally think that this narrative can be changed by the rare few that understand that, you know what, the media might not tell me that there's a place for me in higher education. My environment might not tell me that there's a place for me in higher education, but I'm going to make a place for me in higher education, regardless of what my environment is saying. So the rare few that take it upon themselves to make space for their community can then send that ladder back down and show others that, you know what, there is a place for us here, despite imposter syndrome, despite lack of representation, despite all these barriers put in place, we can still do it. And the more widespread that message becomes amongst our community, slowly that mentality will begin to change amongst certain members of the African Caribbean community. And the only way that can be changed is by platforms like this, where such thought-provoking discussions are had, by YouTube channels like Journey to Med that make it clear that, you know what, I'm a Black female doctor. I might not look like the ones you see on Google, but sorry, I'm a Black female medical student, but you know, I got in. You can do it too. You don't need to speak like this. You don't need to look like this in order to get in. So I think the more people that get themselves in those spaces, they need to send the ladder back to those left behind to join as well.
So that means that mentorship is key. And do you think mentoring is a gap in the Black community?
Oh, I really like that. Yes, mentorship is definitely important. In terms of whether there's a gap, I can see that mentorship has been increasing due to platforms such as Melanin Medics or African Caribbean Medical Mentors. So there are organizations being put in place to aid that gap. So yes, there is a slight gap. However, I do think that it is increasing. I think it also comes down to self-motivation and actually desiring that higher education, desiring that medical career, because all these resources can be put in place, but unless there's a need for it and if there's no one to grasp it, then that balance will never change.
You talked about desire. And for you to desire something, it means that there is something in it that you really want to get out of it. Now, my next question goes this way. Do you think academic prosperity is a source of motivation for young Black people?
With all honesty, I don't think it is for many Black people. There are, of course, a few. I can't speak for everyone. There are, of course, a few Black people that definitely look into academic prosperity. However, I can only speak from my experiences and from my environment and from what I see. And I don't think that academic prosperity is something that is really desired amongst many Black young people. I remember when I was in secondary school, you know, taking time out of my lunchtime to go revise was seen as not cool. And I went to a predominantly Black secondary school, and you know, it was something that wasn't seen as important or valued. We've seen a lot of secondary schools, state schools in low income communities. Students don't really appreciate the free education they're getting. They see it as an opportunity to get distracted, to have fun, be a bit naughty, rather than understand the value of it towards their future. So I honestly don't think so. I think that our generation, and unfortunately some young Black people, are quite centered towards getting money quickly, looking successful to those around them, you know, appearing successful externally, looking at short-term ways of gaining finance, of gaining popularity, of gaining success, their definition of success. And I feel like unfortunately this has led to a few young Black people perhaps venturing down routes that, you know, they didn't have to venture down, and wasting their potential on activities they shouldn't have been part of. So yeah, I definitely don't think that's the case at all. Academic prosperity is something that is seen as long-term, a waste of time. It's going to take you 6 years to complete your education and then get a good job. what is the point when I can get money quickly? So it is something that is not considered enough, I think.
But that makes it it's a big challenge, isn't it? Because if
Yeah,
you're looking for short fix or short
exactly.
ways of success, then it
Hmm.
means that they don't have the patience to
Hmm.
really, go on that route where they even think at the end, how much are you going to earn? If I can be a footballer or I can be an athlete, and make your money that you're going to make in 10 years, in just in 2 years, then
Hmm.
what's the point? So I think there have to be that mind shift. And that mind shift, how are we going to work on it? Because it's all in the mind. How can we work on the mindset of the young people?
Well, first, I just wanted to initially start by saying that, of course, not everyone's passion or the career they're meant to be in will be found through academia. Some people might have to take down other routes, which I completely understand. But I think there needs to be more consideration towards academic prosperity, and I think the mind shift could possibly come from speakers going into these schools where majority of young black people are, that don't consider education enough. Perhaps having the school really instill that message in young black people. I know that in my secondary school, teachers would say things like, you're going to fail anyways to certain young black students that weren't well behaved, and speaking negativity onto their future. And I believe that you eventually become what you are told. So I think it's really important for there to be a limitation to what teachers can say to students, and to change that language and actually motivate them and not write them off according to whatever implicit bias or stereotypes that they have about black children or black people in general. So yeah, I definitely think that academic prosperity isn't a route that everyone has to take. There are different routes of success. However, it is something that people should definitely consider more.
That sounds interesting, and I think you are making a very good points in there. But throughout your experience,
Mhm.
what do you think are some of the barriers that young people of today faces that is hindering their academic performance and even their life in general?
I think one of them can definitely be imposter syndrome. As someone who has experienced it firsthand, the minute that you decide to take the route of higher education, you get faced with imposter syndrome, because a lot of these spaces are unfortunately predominantly white. So the minute that you feel like you don't belong, it's so easy to turn around and say, you know what, this isn't for me, let me go elsewhere. So I do think that imposter syndrome can play a part in this. In addition to this, I do think it's lack of information. Not enough medical students are coming from state schools. They don't have the resources, they don't have the information. And I feel like that inequality within education also plays a part, because the minute that you're put into a low income community and you have to go to a state school, all of a sudden you don't have as many resources as a grammar school had, which I don't think is fair. There shouldn't be that inequality in education. In addition to this, I definitely think that other barriers that exist could also be financial barriers, because there are all types of organizations that have opened up, especially for the medical community, promising aspiring medics all types of resources, to pay £1,000 to come on work experience to boost the application. If you can afford this, immediately you get put 5 steps in front of everyone else that can't afford it. So finance definitely plays a big part. In addition to this, I also think that social barriers also play a part. And this is because I feel like the media, unfortunately, really portrays that idea that, especially young black males are criminals or are angry, violent people, or, will just end up in prison, kind of like that's all they're good for. And the minute you're seeing that in your environment on the media rather than a positive representation of who you are, it can make you write yourself off and tell you already that, I can't do it. This is the route that I'm meant to take, and take that route. Um, and of course, direct environment plays a part, especially it depends on the community you're in. In certain communities, doing fraud at a younger age might be something that is praised. You're getting money quickly and so on. This, in certain communities, that is really, praised. So when you're put in those type of situations, it's hard to have that mindset shift that no, criminal activity is not the route to success just because that's what the media says and that's what my environment says. This is the correct route. So it's hard to have that shift in mindset if there's no one telling you that's the route it should be taken, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I wanted to really pick on the media in terms
Mhm.
of how they portray young black people.
Yeah.
And I think, for example, when you look at stop and search,
Mm.
young people are more likely to be stopped than their counterparts. And
Yeah.
I think this stereotyping is really affecting them, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. If I can imagine if I was put in a situation where every 5 seconds I was stopped and searched because people think I'm a criminal, then I don't think people should be shocked when people begin to behave like a criminal. I feel like it's upsetting to see that, you know, nearly every black person you meet would have been in a situation where a security guard followed them even when they weren't doing anything in a shop, or people would sense they were guilty and might have moved away from them in public or something like that. And I feel like the media portraying this in on the news, for example, if a black kid gets caught with criminal activity, they feel they need to mention the kid's color. If a white kid gets caught with criminal activity, they just say a kid. So I feel like with our environment constantly telling us that, you know, our color is automatically linked to criminal behavior, it's no surprise that people start to behave this way and start to give in to what they're told they should be. So yeah, I do think the media play a role, and it's really important to just grow that mentality where you choose to defy these odds and you choose not to listen to what people tell you should be and the status quo that society tries to put you in. So yeah.
I think it's quite difficult to really change this, because I believe that, for example, a young black boy that have got 2 earrings in the hood, in the minds of a policeman, automatically thinks that person is a bad kid. But it
Exactly.
doesn't really happen so, isn't it? So you can't judge somebody just by their appearance. And
Yeah.
does it mean that we have to change our appearance just to really satisfy them?
Oh, that's a really good question. I definitely don't think that you should ever change yourself to satisfy a specific group of people. Sometimes it can come implicitly just to avoid a situation. You go out of your way to do something. But I definitely don't think that we should change just because certain people have implicit biases that they don't want to let go of, or certain stereotypes put in place that they don't want to let go of. I know, for example, there's a stereotype that, you know, black girls are angry black girls. If I allowed that to ever dilute my voice or dilute my opinion, then that is me inhibiting my potential. So I definitely don't think that we should ever change because of our environment, because unfortunately, whether people like to believe it or not, we still live in a racist society with racist people. And if you live your life to satisfy them, you're not going to be happy. So I think it's important to just do you. It is unfortunate what certain members of the Black youth have to face. It's very unfortunate. And I do think that members of our community don't exactly help us. Certain members of the community don't exactly help our case. However, I think besides that, it is unfortunate, but I don't think that we should change anything about ourselves.
What is your take on Black Lives Matter in terms of its impact on young people, especially
Uh,
black young people?
well, I think initially, as a young black person, back the BLM movement is vital. I feel like it has been taken a bit more seriously this year, which is good to see. But I would also say that it has been draining, you know, very draining to see that you're having to fight for your life that matters, even if we are not seeing, even if these things aren't implicitly happening. Because I feel like in the UK, racism here is quite on a low, but it's still there. It's not as explicit as that of America, of shooting in daylight, of course. But even when you hear about these things happen around the world, and you hear about people being murdered just because the fact that they look like you, it can still be draining because that could be your brother, that could be your sister. You just happen to be in a different environment. So I think it's definitely been draining for young black people. I would say as well, it will have impacted a lot of people's mental health because you're seeing someone who looks like your dad or your uncle being killed just because of the color of their skin. And I think what's worse is you have members of society trying to argue and tell you that, you know, you're essentially you don't know about your own experiences, that despite everything happening in front of them and all the evidence, they still feel they need to tell you that you don't have the right to feel how you feel, or that your life does matter and you're just having a tantrum. So which can even be more frustrating and can even impact your mental health even more. I'm hoping that for a majority of Black people, young Black people, that is actually empower them to continue to put themselves in those spaces. I feel like as a community, we have come far. We do have a long way to go. Society has a long way to go, but we have moved even a tiny bit. So I do hope that it has encouraged young Black people to not fall into these stereotypes, because this is essentially to an extent the consequence of it, and to do right by their community, to represent us in a good way, and to break through those barriers and break through those stereotypes that people try to put in place for them.
Now, with your impact in changing the mindset of young people and trying to give them more information, what has been your source of motivation? Like, what did you see that caused you to make that decision? And what do you think is that one single thing that you think, if it is addressed, is going to help young people?
Oh, okay. I think first of all, my absolute initial motivation from the time I was 16 years old and really just wanted to break through my environment and really get into higher education, despite the fact that I didn't really see that example in my school, was the fact that when I was an asylum seeker and I was moving to the UK, I understood how valuable education was. I know that back home in the Democratic Republic of Congo, there are all types of situations happening there. Children are not able to just get up one morning and go to school in certain areas of Africa, in certain areas of Congo. And I feel like to be able to move here and have that opportunity and have that ability is truly a blessing, because the only thing that differentiates me and someone in Congo that can't go to school because there's famine, because there's war, is my location. That could be me, but I was lucky enough to be able to grow up here and have that free education. So understanding the value of it has been one of my motivation. Understanding everything that my mom had to go through for us to move here is one of my biggest motivations. I don't want to waste that energy. And it's unfortunate to see other asylum seekers whose parents did so much to get them into this country and give them a better future, throw that away and get involved with all types of nonsense, such as knife crime and gangs and so on. So I think that in order for this to change, it's just important to just get the message across to young people that they're putting the energy, to young Black people, that certains are putting the energy in the wrong place. The energy shouldn't go to crime on the street. The energy shouldn't go to falling into stereotypes, but it should go towards making a better future for themselves, making a better future for their children, making a better future for their community. Because when one of us win, we all win. So it's really important for members of our community to almost join the fight, because if we're fighting against injustice, we're fighting against stereotypes, we shouldn't be falling into those stereotypes either. We're fighting against the fact that we don't want police officers to be doing stop and search on specifically Black people. Isn't fair, because being Black doesn't make you a criminal. However, there are still some people who are falling into that stereotype and actually encouraging that type of behavior. So of course, I'm not saying that people should change or anything just because of the color of their skin, but I do think that we could help the situation if our community stand together more and look to the right places for success and direction.
Do you have any plans for Africa, especially the Congo? Is it DR Congo, right?
Yeah, DR Congo.
Where you come from, in terms of journey to med, and also when in the near future you become a GP or a doctor, do you have any plans for them in the near future?
At the moment with Journey to Med, not so much, just because I don't really know how the education system works there. Journey to Med is a lot about my personal experience, my education, what I've been through, and just helping others with my experiences as well. I'm hoping that in the future, when I do become a qualified doctor, I can get involved with certain works in Congo, such as hospital buildings and other activities like that, just to give back to my where I actually come from, my actual community as well. But from Journey to Med right now, not so much, just because I don't really have a lot of information on that, and I'm not really sure what direction I'd want to take at the moment.
Now, do you think there is hope for young Black people, especially in Africa and in diaspora, from Black communities?
So I don't really understand your question.
What I'm trying to say is that, do you think there is hope in the future for young Black people in Africa and in diaspora?
Yes, I'd like to think so. I'm quite an optimistic person, so I always think there's hope. There is a lot of work that needs to be done. I don't think we're anywhere near where we want to be with Africa or the diaspora. However, there are change makers making steps towards it, and I don't think that their work will go to vain.
Wow. It's been wonderful having this discussion, and trust me, I have really enjoyed every bit of it, and you have really opened our eyes in terms of academic prosperity and breaking barriers for young Black people. And I think there is more that we can do, but at the moment we are creating the foundation to really build a better platform for young people to have that platform, to have discussions where we can learn from each other and build it into other level where we can provide real support for young Black people in our communities. And I believe you are doing a very awesome job. Thank you. I want you to really continue to do what you are doing. Now, what are you going to say to the government and people, the stakeholders and the leaders and the school teachers? What are you going to tell them?
I think if I had one thing to tell the government and, you know, people who are leaders in our country is to work towards making real change. A few months ago, we heard as a result of the BLM movement, they removed a show called Little Britain off Netflix because of their racial slurs. And people are campaigning for there to be a change in the education system, in what is taught in the education system, for there to be a change in the specifications to represent Black people more, because at the end of the day, they are Black people in Britain, not just white people. So it's important to have that representation in the education system as well. People are fighting for change, and one of the earliest moves that the government is making, although all leaders, is removing a Netflix show. That is not what we're asking for. So I do think that it's important to not be a performist, to do the bare minimum to show that, okay, we're actually listening when really they're not. So I think it's important that with the BLM movement, it doesn't go to waste, that they actually listen to what will be beneficial to society, because at the end of the day, nobody likes conflict in society. I think for everyone to just be okay, be comfortable, they should really actively work towards racism, because it's not an issue that anyone's going to keep quiet about, and it's not something that we're going to stop fighting for. So I think to just move on from this, they should give us what we're asking for, which is simply equality. But they seem to be doing the bare minimum, like removing a Netflix show. So I think it's definitely to not disregard the BLM movement as being an array of violent protests, and to actually listen to what people are asking for, because racism does play a big part in the lives of young Black people in every single aspect of their lives, whether that be applying to a job, education, going about their daily activities like entering a shop. It can really shape someone's life. So I think it's important to not disregard this topic and to actually pay close attention to it and do something about it beyond removing a Netflix show.
What are you going to say to that teacher that always stereotype Black people and say you have to do sports, you have to go and do athletics, you have to go and play football instead of academics, and telling them that you will not amount to anything, you are not good enough? What are you going to tell them? Because I think there should be a source of motivation for young Black people. And also, do you think that we don't have enough Black teachers in Black communities just to be mentors to other young Black people?
Yeah, no, I don't think we have enough Black teachers in the community. And it all starts, it's a cycle. More young Black people need to look at themselves and understand, I can be a teacher. I can do this. I need to consider a higher education. I can actually go into higher education and put themselves in those places, in those high status places to make the change. If we continue to put ourselves at the bottom and allow ourselves to be oppressed, allow ourselves to deal with imposter syndrome, allow ourselves to deal with the consequences of people that have implicit bias, this cycle will continue. No, not enough young Black people will apply to teaching jobs. There won't be enough Black teachers. Younger children won't see enough Black teachers. They will believe that they can't be Black teachers. And then that cycle continues in every single profession. And that's why there's just a general lack of diversity. So to those specific teachers, I think they just have a lot of unlearning to do, because racism is honestly learned. And teachers that, claim they're not racist but still stereotype young Black students implicitly have a lot of unlearning to do, because that implicit bias is there. And I think the first thing to do is admit it and then go about educating yourself to fix it.
Wow, it's been wonderful having you, and I've really enjoyed every bit of this discussion. But before we go, I want to do a few mentions of our sponsors. This program is sponsored by Train to Inspire Consultancy. That is your business training and consulting firm for all your leadership and management, customer service, sales and marketing, finance and accounting, change management, you name it. Just call them and they will come and do a fantastic job in terms of business training. And also they can provide consulting in any areas that you need growth. Also, ALS Global Shipping and Logistics, your trusted import and export company based in Accra. The ALS says if you are stranded at the port, call them and they will sort you out. ZPay Ghana Limited, your remittance mobile money company based in Ghana. They just launched their ZPay mobile money USSD code, which is *270#. They say just dial it and join the Freedom Family. Then Wheels for Sure, your car leasing company based in London. Wheels for Sure says it doesn't matter your credit score. You can drive out of the garage a car of your choice. When you call them, please quote T2I 2020, and that will tell you that it's coming from T2I TV UK. And if they've got a special package for everyone, especially for all key workers in the UK. Now, if you want to contact any of our sponsors, please, their numbers are scrolling on the screen. Take it and call them. When you call them, tell them you got this number for T2I TV UK, and you are more likely to get a good deal. Also, if you want to sponsor any of our shows, we will encourage you to call us. The numbers are scrolling on the screen, T2I TV UK. Call us to sponsor or advertise on the show. Also, if you want to support this platform out of your own will, so that, for example, after today's interview, we can just boost it so that a lot of people can see this interview, a lot of young people can see this interview, then you can also do so as well. Also, what package we are going to bring to you is that apart from you advertising, sponsoring, or supporting this platform, as a consultancy firm, we are going to support you with our knowledge to help grow your business or your talent or anything that you are pursuing. So it's been wonderful having you, Lydia. I really enjoyed the conversation, and trust me, I know definitely you'll always be coming back to the show because I enjoyed every bit of it. Now, what is the last word to anyone that is watching us?
I'll just like to say to everyone that's watching, especially the young Black kids, I'm hoping young Black kids watch this. Just remember that you can be anything you want to be. I know that it's a really generic phrase, but it's easy to not believe it when your environment is telling you otherwise. I know that with BLM, the people are exhausted. I know that in your environment, if in school, places that you're meant to feel safe and comfortable, you might be dealing with certain implicit biases, certain microaggressions, but allow these things to shape you. Don't stay silent, of course. Tell someone about this issue, confront it head on, but allow these things to push you further. Everyone who says that you can't be something, prove to them you can. I myself have faced demotivating teachers in the past, and I've always used it as a source of motivation to show them that you know what, you said I would fail physics. Well, here is an A. You said I would fail this subject. Here I am. You said I wouldn't even get through my GCSEs. I'm doing medicine at Ross Group University right now. So honestly, use it as a source of motivation and never ever allow your environment to define what you can be. Never allow society to put you in a box and tell you that you have to live this stereotype, because you really don't. So yeah, that's the last word that I would say.
Wow, that's really powerful. And one thing that I took from it is that you can always be who you want to be. And that is very powerful. Young black people must have the self-belief that it can be done. Though you don't have mentors, you don't have people that are around you that shows that it's been done before, but you can be the first person for others to look up to. And I think that if Lydie can do it, then you can also do it. It's not rocket science. It's about you putting your head down and working so hard, getting few consultation from here and there, and it can be done. Be the first person if nobody has been the first person, because there is always that first person in life, and be that first person to create that power for others to follow. So it's been wonderful having you, and trust me, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, I enjoyed it so much. You was an amazing host.
Wow. And everyone that has been watching us, we encourage you to share this so that somebody might see this. It might help a young person. You might never know. Share it on WhatsApp, share it on other platforms, and let's get this platform going. This platform is a platform that we can grow ourselves. That is the best you can do, is to go and like our page on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We want to grow this platform, but we can only do it with you, not with us alone. So take care and see you coming Thursday. Thursday, I have a man that I'm going to interview. His story is amazing. And it's coming to talk about how you can turn your vision around. Because his story is the one that it will inspire you. And we are here Thursday, 7 p.m. GMT, 8 p.m. UK time, and 3 p.m. Eastern time, USA. You can't afford to miss it. Saturday, we are here 7 p.m. as well. Don't miss it. If you are watching us for the first time, just use this 1 hour every time to come here to learn, because we bring people that share value and that can change your life. Some of the stories that people come and share here, by the time you finish, you will just be so much motivated to go and start whatever you stopped 10 years ago. Why? Because if they can do it, then you also can do it. We want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you, Lydie, for coming on the show, and God richly bless everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
I believe that you are able to do exceedingly abundantly, far above all I could ask or think. Believe, yes, I believe. You say,
I believe that you are able to do exceedingly abundantly, far above all I could ask or think.
I am so excited because the Step Out TV shows are back live on T2I TV. And for those who don't know, Step Out is a series of interviews and motivational segments designed to bring the best out of you and your business. Therefore, we have the following TV programs: Our first TV program, which is our flagship program, dubbed Step Out with Oscar Bimpong, is designed to interview consultants, experts, talented people, and those doing exceptionally well in their communities. The second one is Step Out SME Focus. This is where we interview business owners and showcase their products and services. The third one is Step Out Youth Impact Zone. This is where we interview young people succeeding against all odds to serve as an inspiration to other young people. And the last one is Step Out Authors Corner. And this is where we interview authors to share what their book is about to the world. Join us every week at 7 p.m. GMT. Like T2I TV on Facebook and subscribe to the YouTube channel. To advertise or for further information, do WhatsApp +44 759 1152 983 or +233 55 580 3924 or email info@traintoinspire.com. T2I TV. We engage, educate, enlighten, and empower.